ahead and just find a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like. You can sit cross-legged or with one foot on top, one foot in front, however works. And then once you get there, just let the hands rest either on the knees or the floor, and go ahead and close down the eyes. And take just a couple lengthening breaths. So with each breath, let it become a little bit longer than the one before it, and also lengthen up through the top of the head. And with each exhale, let that grow a little bit longer as well, but let the shoulders sink away from the ears, let the neck soften. Just scan the body over, beginning with the top of the head. And just moving your way downward, noticing if anything feels stuck or tight or achy. And then reach the arms all the way up into the air with your next inhale. And then as if we're coming into child's pose, kind of the same feeling, just come forward and down so that the forehead drops toward the floor. It may be a lot farther away than it would be in child's pose, and that's okay. More importantly, we want to stay grounded through the seat. So if we start to lift up off of the ground or tip weight into the knees, keep pressing backward. If it feels okay, the neck can relax here. If not, we can even look toward the fingertips. And then walk the hands over toward your right side so that the upper body begins to move along as well. The forehead's kind of pointing in toward the right knee. And keep pressing downward through the left hip bone. And keep the right hand as it is. On an inhale, sweep the left arm up and away. So it's like the two arms are stretching in opposite directions. And then bring that left hand back down. So again, we're kind of facing toward the right knee. Stay pointed in that direction, but lift up through the top of the head. Left hand can come to the right knee. We'll take a twist over to the right. Right hand can then kind of sweep behind the back. Belly pulled in, chest lifted, top of the head lifting. Good. And then last thing we'll do here, keep the left hand on the right knee. The right hand, though, will reach straight up into the air. And then with that hand, we'll take a little bit of a side bend. So we start to lean into the left knee. And bringing the right hand back down behind. And with an inhale, we'll just return to center. Arms can reach up towards the ceiling. And then float down to your sides or to your knees. And then we'll actually just change the cross of the legs here. So whatever legs on top take to the bottom or front take to the back. And that'll just get into the hips a little bit differently so we're a bit more even that way. And then same thing here, breathe in, reach up. And then we'll come forward and down. So kind of like that child's pose positioning. Upper body just sinks toward the floor. Hip bones keep pressing back and sitting bones keep pressing downward. And then hands can walk over toward the left so that the upper body moves over there as well. Right hip and sitting bones keep pressing down towards the floor. They may lift up a little bit, and that's normal. We're just pressing in that direction so that we get that lengthening through the right side body. And even more so as we keep that left hand down, we'll sweep the right arm up and away. So the hands are stretching in opposite directions, and feels like the shoulders are as well. So we'll create a little extra space through the chest and upper back. And then both hands meet over toward the left once again. Chest keeps facing in that direction as we sit up nice and tall, taking that twist over to the left side as the left hand reaches back in behind. Continuing to sit up nice and tall through the top of the head so that the spine is stacked one vertebrae on top of the next. And then lastly, that side bend, left arm comes up and over as we lean in toward the right knee. And left hand comes back down behind. And then we'll breathe in, arms up, back to center. And releasing, hands back down toward the sides. And then from here, let's go ahead and come on to all fours or tabletop. And we'll roll through just a couple cat-cows, warming up the spine a little bit more. So on an inhale, beginning with the belly dropping for cow pose, chest moves forward, and exhale, cat pose. And again, just keep going here at your own pace, like always. And just noticing here too, if anything in these positions feels stuck or tight, you can always stop and pause and hold. Move faster or slower. Good. And with your next inhale, come back to a neutral spine. And then we'll find downward facing dog. So tail up and back, as much or as little movement here as you need. A lot of yoga is just about paying attention and noticing. So noticing here too, any tightness in the legs, and the calves, the hamstrings. And then breathe in, come forward for plank pose. And breathe out, press back, down dog. We'll do that 3 times, so 2 more. Let's inhale, come forward, plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. And then last one, breathe in, come forward. Breathe out, press back. And then this time on an inhale, softly bend the knees and look up toward the hands. And then make your way to the top of the mat. And that might be a lot of little steps or one big giant step as the feet come up to the hands. Let the upper body hang and relax. Neck relaxes. Take just a few breaths here in forward fold in whatever manner feels good. So hands can touch down to the ground. You can grab opposite elbows and come into ragdoll. Maybe neck is completely relaxed. Or we can look towards the toes. On an inhale, let's take a halfway lift. Chest pressing forward as the spine lengthens out a bit. And we'll exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms reach all the way up, standing tall, lengthening through the top of the head and fingertips. And then let's take a side bend. So let's move over toward the right side as we press down through the left foot. And breathing in, coming back up through center. And then same thing up and over towards the left. And hands can really be in any position. I always like to grab hold of the wrist like you're pulling yourself. And then breathe in, come back up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. And then plant the palms, step the feet back, plank pose. Let's stay here for just a breath, breathing in. And then exhale, bend the elbows to your own degree. You can come to the belly or halfway and hover. Breathe in, low cobra or upward facing dog, either one. And then let's drop down to the knees and take child's pose for a couple breaths here. So using this again just as an opportunity to check back in. Really pay attention to how the body is feeling, how the breath is flowing also. And then come back up to tabletop. And then let's stretch the right leg straight backward. And we'll reach the left arm straight forward. And then exhale, squeeze in, knee to elbow. Inhale, stretch long. This time though, as you exhale, open out to the sides. So right leg, I don't have a lot of room. Right leg will go towards the right, left arm will go towards the left. And then on an inhale, come back through center, and then we'll squeeze in, exhale. So we'll do each of those 3 times. Inhale, stretch long. Exhale, open out to the sides. Inhale, back through center. And then last time we'll squeeze in. Inhale, lengthen. And then one more, open out to the side. This time though, take the left hand down, set the right foot down out towards the side, so you're all spin. And then left hand will sweep up towards the ceiling, and we'll thread the needle with that left hand down and through. So it goes behind the right arm, right hand can stay positioned there as the left shoulder, left side of the head drop down towards the floor. So right hand can stay there, or you can stretch it straight forward. You can wrap it around the back. Do whatever feels comfortable and supportive also. And then right hand presses down, left arm will sweep back up into the air. And then we'll make our way to tabletop and downward facing dog again. So take a couple breaths in down dog, maybe a little bit of movement here also. On your inhale next, come forward through plank pose. And then this time we'll walk the hands backward to the feet, finding a forward fold at the back side of the mat. And on an inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift the arms all the way up. And exhale, fold back down. Inhale, we'll walk the hands forward for plank. On an exhale, elbows bend any amount. Breathe in, chest lifts up, cobra or up dog. Good, and then we'll drop the knees and come right into tabletop this time. So left leg will go straight backward, right arm straight forward. And we'll start by squeezing in on an exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, lengthen out. And exhale, open out to the side. Inhale, back to center. Again, squeeze in, knee to elbow. Inhale, grow long. And again, open out to the side. Inhale, back to center. One more of each of those. Exhale and squeeze in. Inhale, lengthen. And then last one, we'll open out to the side. Hand will come down where it was. Left leg will stay out towards the left side. Good, and then we'll reach the right arm up into the air. So that'll increase that stretch through the inner left thigh. And we'll exhale, threading the needle. Coming all the way down toward the right shoulder, right side of the head. Left hand can stay, or it can move anywhere really. We'll support with the left hand, pressing the right arm back up into the air. And then back to tabletop and downward facing dog. And on your inhale here, take the right leg up into the air. We'll stay here for just a breath, really sinking into the left heel. Exhale, step the right foot to the top end of the mat, finding a low lunge. Good. Let's take a twist here just for a moment, reaching the right arm up into the air. Good. Bring the right hand back down on the outside edge of the right foot and then stretch the right leg long. So right leg might be completely straight, it might still be pretty bent. Left heel will stay lifted and we'll just fold over top of that right leg as much as feels good. And again, that knee can bend more as needed or less as feels okay. And then we'll bend into the right knee again. This time though, dropping the left knee down to the ground, sweeping both arms up into the air. And sinking into the hips. And then let's take hands through heart center and we'll take a twist to the right. So left elbow will press against the right thigh. Hands press really firmly together so that the chest can stay lifted. And coming back through center, arms lift up. And then we'll exhale, hands back down to the ground. Good. Curl the left toes and we'll reach the right leg back up into the air, three-legged dog. And exhale, right knee to right elbow. Inhale, lift it up and back. Good. And then we're going to take that right knee toward the right elbow, but we'll just sort of set it down on the ground over there. I'll spin around again so that makes more sense. The right knee will come out to the ground. And then we can lay all the way down on this back leg, on the left leg. So we're coming into half frog. So we want the right knee coming straight out from the right hip, and then the right foot coming straight back from the right knee. And then from there, you can go ahead and come down to your elbows if that feels okay, or even lay down completely, whatever feels all right. And then notice how that right hip feels, how the inner right thigh feels. And if you need more, you can start to stretch the right leg out to your side. So the leg can be as bent or as straight as you need it to be. And then if it's straightened at all, just go ahead and bend that knee again. Stretch the right leg straight back and we'll just come up to the elbows for Sphinx pose. So just a really gentle back bend. Elbows press down, shoulders pull back. Good, and then come all the way back down. Hands come beneath the shoulders. We'll press up and back, downward facing dog. On an inhale, left leg will go up towards the ceiling, sinking down into that right heel. On an exhale next, left foot will come all the way up to the top end of the mat for that low lunge, back knee lifted, and we'll twist. Left hand reaches up into the air. Good, bringing that left hand down to the ground. On the outside of the left foot, we'll start to straighten out the right leg. And again, that can be a little, a lot. It might be completely different from the other side. Upper body folds over top of the left leg any amount. And then bending the left knee, we'll drop the back knee to the mat. On an inhale, sweeping both arms up towards the ceiling, continuing to sink down through the hips. And then we'll take that prayer twist on this side. Hands come down through the center of the heart as the right elbow presses into the left thigh. And bring the hands back up just for a breath. And then exhale, hands down to the ground. Right toes curl, left foot will lift up and back, three-legged dog. And we'll exhale, left knee to the left elbow. Inhale, back up behind. And then again, we'll take it over toward that left elbow, but we'll just set it down on the ground over here for half frog. So once the right knee drops, we can better support. We want the left knee straight out, the left foot straight back, and then we can lower down to the elbows or the chest, whatever feels good. And then same thing with that leg. It can be really bent, or we can start to straighten it out. Bending and stretching the left leg back to the back of the mat. We'll again take Sphinx pose here, elbows down, chest lifts up, shoulders back. And then coming all the way down, hands beneath the shoulders, this time child's pose, pressing up and back and letting the body rest for a few breaths. Back up to tabletop. And then the last nice big hip opener that we'll do will be full frog pose. So kind of same thing we were just doing with one leg at a time, both legs together. So knees go as far apart as they can, whatever that looks like. Heels come straight back from the knees, knees come straight out from the hips. So we want all these like right angles basically. And then we'll come down to the elbows if that feels okay. We can lower all the way to the chest if that feels okay. And then once you're down, just kind of reassess. So you can always take the knees closer together, further apart. We won't stay here for too long, but just notice while you're here if you start to tense up elsewhere. So sometimes in hip openers, I'm so focused on relaxing through the hips that I start to clench my jaw or my shoulders start to tense up. Good, and then from here you can get out of this a couple ways. So you can either just sort of fall forward and lower down to your belly, or you can press up onto the hands and kind of work the knees back toward each other, whichever feels easier or more comfortable. We'll just meet on our backs when you're ready. And then once you come down onto your back, just squeeze both knees up into the chest. Take a few breaths here, either in stillness or you can move from side to side a little bit. Good, and then bring both feet down to the ground. We'll come into bridge pose. We'll take a series of these, just a couple different ways. So initially though, we'll start off as is maybe normal, with heels right underneath the knees, arms in tight to the sides of the body, palms facing the ground, and then breathe in, lift the hips up towards the ceiling. From here you can, if it feels okay, rock the shoulder blades closer together or even clasp the hands beneath the body. Really, again, doing here also whatever feels most supportive and also allows you to open up the chest. And then slowly roll back down until your low back again reaches the floor. And just take a breath or two here. Just letting the legs relax. To set up for the second round, we'll take a step forward. So the feet walk further away from the body, so that if from feet to knees to sitting bones was a triangle, it's just a wider triangle. Aside from that though, we'll go just the same. Arms in tight to the sides of the body. On an inhale, hips lift up towards the ceiling. And then here, again, same thing. If you want, you can rock the shoulder blades together. Maybe the hands clasp We're a little lower to the ground maybe this time with the feet further away. So whatever you have room for. And then just taking a few breaths here. And slowly rolling back down to the mat. And same thing here, just pause as you are and take a long deep breath in and out, relaxing the legs, relaxing the back. And we'll go one more time. So just setting up for the next round. Same idea, taking another step forward. So it's a nice low triangle then here. We'll feel it more through the hamstrings, arms in tight, breathing in, hips lift up. Whatever you have room for or feels okay as far as squeezing through the shoulder blades or clasping the hands. And slowly again coming back down to the ground. Good, this time we'll stretch out those hamstrings a little bit. So let's walk the feet back in so that we're kind of in our starting position as if we were going to come back into bridge pose. We won't though. So from there, let's lift the right foot straight up towards the ceiling. We can hold on to the back of the right leg. And with an exhale, head lifts up, hands kind of walk up the leg just as far as you can reach. If it's calf, ankle, toes, whatever works here. And then walking back down, letting the head lower, we'll bend at the right knee, right heel crosses over top of the left thigh, like a figure four, but we'll just take that twist. So shoulders broad and lowered down to the ground. We'll tip both legs over to the left side. So left thigh will come down, right foot, and then maybe the left hand helps press that right knee a bit closer to the ground as well. Unwind, coming back to center. From here, we'll just set the right foot back down onto the ground. So setting up for side two, we'll lift the left foot straight up into the air. Flexing through the foot and pressing through the heel. On an exhale, head lifts up, hands can walk up that leg just as far as feels okay. Then walking back down, lowering the head and shoulders to the mat, crossing left heel over top of right thigh, and we'll tip over to the right side this time. Left shoulder keeps pressing downward. Head can stay centered or turn left, either way, doing whatever feels best for the neck. Coming back up to center, and then this time uncrossing the legs and squeezing both knees to the chest. Good. From here, finding Shavasana. So whatever positioning of the body feels best, whether the legs are straight or the knees are bent. Letting the shoulders really rest down into the ground so that the chest is open, creating length and softness through the back of the neck. Releasing any tension in the jaw or the muscles of the face. It's normal for the mind to really wander here. Anytime we ask it to be quiet, it does just the opposite. So while letting go of control over the breath, we can really pay attention to it, using the breath as a tool to help steady the mind. your next breath in, just starting to move gently through the fingers and the toes, letting tiny little movements come back into the body. Bending at the knees, letting the low back sink toward the floor, and then rolling over to either side and pausing as needed before coming up to a seated position. Letting the eyes close and the hands come to the center of the heart. And just taking a moment again to briefly scan the body, noticing how you feel physically and though mentally, emotionally. And knowing that whatever sense of calm or peace you've found, it's because you've created it, which means that you can come back to it at any time. And thanks for sharing your practice with me this morning. Namaste.